the First Amendment violations are off the charts right now. You would think, oh, of all the things about trans people, typically we're usually discussing things like 14th Amendment violations, equal protection under the law. You can't deny trans kids the same medicine that you allow cis kids to take, et cetera, right? We are seeing in some places this increased, like, you can't even express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. And so this seems like the kind of thing that's going to be a very, very clear cut and dry First Amendment, boom, easy, right? Title IX discrimination, easy. But that remains to be seen. So in this instance, I want to discuss a story coming out of Mississippi. And Erin Reed covered this, so we're going to riff off of her coverage on this. Civil rights complaint filed over Mississippi Public Schools' quote, biological sex dress code. The school has been forbidding trans and gender non-conforming students from wearing clothes that do not match their biological sex at graduation and in other situations, apparently. So I just want to be clear. When we say gender non-conforming, that's like a tomboy, and like that's one of the instances, one of the examples that we're going to be talking about here. The ACLU filed a Title IX complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights over the consistent, deliberate, and cruel mistreatment of trans and gender nonconforming students at the Harrison County School District. Allegations include forcing these students to abide by a, quote, biological sex dress code, enduring repeated and severe harassment and bullying, and removing trans and gender nonconforming students from school-related functions in clear violation of Title IX. Previously, the school made national news for forcing a trans girl as well as a cisgender, gender nonconforming girl to miss graduation for wearing a dress and pants, respectively. So again, when we say cisgender, gender nonconforming girl, they kicked her out of, they would not allow her to walk during graduation because she was wearing pants. So this movement, this far-right movement in this country, they genuinely are heading this direction of women need to wear dresses and stay in the kitchen. If you ever thought that that wasn't the case, like a tomboy, a girl who wants to wear pants, dress pants, I'm assuming she's not trying to wear jeans, because I get it, they're trying to enforce formality at graduation, but like a tomboy, all these people like J.K. Rowling and all these TERFs keep saying, oh, you're trying to trans the youth. If I had grown up in this day and age, they would have tried to trans me because I was a tomboy. But the people that they're aligned with also don't think that tomboys should be tomboys. They think young women need to wear dresses and high heels. And I mean, honestly, like, it would surprise me if they weren't also upset that she was graduating high school, because being educated is like also a bad thing for women, right? This has always been the goal of religious people who are invested in this, conservatives. I wish people realized it's bigger than just trans people. They do want to enforce their gender ideology on everyone, right? They're trying to enforce a strict binary where you should be able to look at a person and guess what their genitals are, And like, of course, I don't want to hammer in too hard this tomboy point because, ultimately what we want to address is the fact that this is discrimination against trans people. But it is obviously Title IX discrimination no matter what. Like, a trans girl should be allowed to wear a dress, and cisgender girls should be allowed to wear formal pants at a formal event. Like, that, why is that a big deal? It shouldn't be a big deal. Hey, you should like, comment, and subscribe. And you can hit up the Patreon or maybe buy one of these hoodies that I'm wearing because it's good merch. Do it. Do it for the cat. Do it. Do it. So there's a new complaint brought by AH, who is an anonymous transgender 16-year-old girl. She attends Harrison Central High School. She was told by her band teacher that she was permitted to wear a black dress to a regional band concert evaluation. She received compliments from her fellow bandmates. However, the principal, Kelly Fuller, saw her in the hallway while she was going to the restroom and said, you can't wear that, right? Boys can't wear skirts or dresses. And then added, you can't represent our school dressed like that. She then forced her mother to, quote, bring, quote, boys' clothes, or threatened to send her to in-school reassignment. So I think that in-school reassignment means in-school suspension. I think that they threatened this girl with suspension because of a dress code about you have to conform to your biological sex's dress code. Like, what? This is from the complaint. AH confirmed with the band director the dress she had chosen was appropriate and consistent with guidelines. The band director approved of the dress. During first period, this teenager went to the bathroom, was accosted by the principal. Yeah, and she was, threatened to be sent to in-school reassignment and not allowed to participate in the band concert evaluation. She also, so in-school suspension, and you can't go do your band evaluation, which, to be clear, this is the kind of thing that a kid could get a scholarship off of. Going to a regional competition, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whatever it is, that is an opportunity for further educational, opportunities that is just being, revoked. I've made this point before. They're trying to prevent trans people from having a place in society. If you refuse to let a kid use the correct bathroom while they're at school, you're saying, oh, well, sure, you can use the bathroom in the nurse's office, and then you have to go 3 flights of stairs downstairs to use the only restroom in the school that you're allowed to. Like, you're basically cutting that child off from education. And when you try to revoke Riley Gaines tried to go after a trans teenager who was playing volleyball and saying, oh, she should have her scholarship revoked, her scholarship to college revoked. Like, you're trying to deny trans people an education. And that's what this is. You're trying to deny trans people an education and the ability to participate in society and staying with their communities. So the teenager called her mother, who was upset to hear what happened, but she was on it. The mom was on it and brought an outfit for the girl to change into because she had worked hard to qualify for this regional. The girl changed into the, quote, boys' clothes that her mother brought, which was a button-down shirt and dress pants. Returning to the classroom where her dress had been celebrated by her peers, the teenager felt humiliated to be seen in clothing that was inconsistent with her gender identity. But she wanted to be able to participate. The incident that appears to have triggered the complaint was not the only time this teen had suffered harassment and abuse over her gender identity in the school district. Previously, when she entered the girls' bathroom in 8th grade, she was screamed at by a teacher to the point of tears. She was then forced to use the teacher's restroom. Later in 9th grade, a hall monitor confronted her on her way to the bathroom, demeaned her, and asked, "What are you?" So the Title IX updates recently. So Biden's administration is now saying trans people are protected under sex discrimination under Title IX, meaning if a child is being bullied, like let's just say for their religion, if a child is being bullied for their religion and if the teachers are participating in it, or if the teachers are not adequately, and the administration, if the teachers and the administration are not adequately addressing that, the student can seek damages and say, and basically sue the school and say, you are not fulfilling your duty to protect me under Title IX civil rights. Like, I deserve an education, and I deserve an education free of discrimination. So this is a situation where, we now have a complaint built on years of Title IX, a failure to enforce Title IX anti-discrimination laws. The teen alleges severe bullying and harassment from other students with no resolution from the school. She received a suspension after being targeted by bullying in the classroom. One student called her a slur, 2 slurs, in the presence of a teacher while class was in session, and no action was taken until this trans girl stood up for herself and told the student to stop harassing her loudly in the classroom. And the teacher wrote up and suspended this trans girl for telling someone else to, stop bullying her. After facing yet another class period of harassment, she stood up for herself. The teacher removed her from class, attempted to send her to removed her and the bully from the class and attempted to send them to the school counselor. But the vice principal of the school called him into his office. She brought her friends with her to the principal's office as witnesses, where they attempted to explain the pattern of bullying by the other student. However, the vice principal sent away her witnesses, saying they were, quote, biased and attempting to defend her. He also told her that she would be written up for her actions. Apparently, he then, Jaworski Rankin, I don't know the gender of this vice principal. Anyway, the vice principal called in the other student to the office. The student harassed and used slurs against both the trans girl and the vice principal, and the student threatened the trans girl in front of the vice principal. The next day, this trans girl was suspended for 2 days for, quote, disrupting the learning environment. Until that point, she had had a perfect disciplinary record. Like getting an in-school suspension, or actually I don't know if it was in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension, but getting a suspension for telling your bully to leave you alone. Like this teacher was allowing bullying to happen and then decided, oh, I'm going to punish both of you. Oh, you're both causing a problem. Like, okay, very normal behavior. This story is not unique in the district. They've recently made national news after excluding, a trans girl and a cis girl from their graduation. The tomboy girl, who she wore black pants to her graduation in accordance with her usual gender expression, barred from attending graduation. She was told she could remove her pants under her graduation gown. But if her pants were on under her gown, she would not be allowed to walk. So the pants that you can't even see under her graduation gown. The following summer, the school released a, quote, biological sex dress code that mandates students, quote, follow the dress attire consistent with their biological sex. Boys required to wear shorts, pants, and shirts and footwear, and are banned from wearing items commonly associated with girls, such as skirts, dresses, and blouses. Please tell me the specific difference between a shirt and a blouse. I'm waiting. Girls must wear dresses or skirts or shorts or pants, and shirts or blouses and footwear. Shorts and pants. You're saying pants are permissible, but you denied that girl the opportunity to graduate? Okay. The policy appears to clearly violate Title IX, stating that students cannot be subjected to different rules of behavior, sanctions, or treatment based on their sex. Numerous courts have ruled that sex-based dress codes violate Title IX, including the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which stated, quote, based on the plain language and structure of the statute, we conclude that Title IX unambiguously encompasses sex-based dress codes. So the ACLU is going to be seeking remedies, including an order stopping the the gender-specific dress code policies. We want to have gender-neutral dress code policies. They demand that the school stops targeting, surveilling, and disciplining students based on sex. The school should adopt policies and procedures for promptly and equitably responding to reports of discrimination. Schools should be made to provide mandatory training for district employees about non-discrimination and compliance with federal anti-discrimination laws. The school should issue a written apology to this trans girl for their ongoing discriminatory conduct. So, yeah, Erin points out we're gonna see how the Biden administration handles this, because we've just recently updated the Title IX stuff. And, we're going to see how much of a burden the schools have to enforce Title IX rules, Ow. In my school at graduation, everyone wears a white robe, so you could see what was underneath. Ooh, most of the time I think they're black. But like that, yeah, to say you can't wear pants underneath, like this isn't even a trans-related problem. Although, this is part of why I personally believe that Title IX discrimination, when we're talking about anti-trans discrimination, gender non-conforming people who identify with their sex assigned at birth are kind of under the broader umbrella of trans people, like trans identity, because they're going to get caught up in this stuff just as well. They're discriminated against for the same reasons. I'm not saying that they are trans and that they identify as trans, but I'm saying that they are subject to the same types of discrimination. Because, why do you care what people are wearing? Why do you care that this teenager is wearing a dress to a competition? And to say, ooh, boys are not allowed to wear dresses. Like, what? That's just overt discrimination. That's the principal of the school calling a trans girl a boy to her face. Blatant Title IX discrimination. Blatant. There's just no question. It's totally clear. I don't know why people care. Just trying to exert control over people who are just like, I'm just trucking along, living my life. If it's not revealing, what is the problem, right? Like, if it's not revealing, then what is the issue? As long as people's feet are covered appropriately, as long as people don't have, their genitals hanging out or their ass hanging out or whatever, it seems like it shouldn't be this difficult. But we live in a time in our country where there's this extreme conservative backlash to basic things like self-expression. And it seems like to me it's like Title IX discrimination, and it's a violation of First Amendment rights to self-expression. Thank you so much to all of my patrons, especially Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvog, Michelle Frateroli, Amanda B., Michelle Winter, Wellington Marcus, Danielle McDonald, DZXN, Suzanne Maynard, Spooky Heather Sylvia, Ella V. Nobody, Pastel Infinity, Jamie Jam, Nova, Sojo, Elizabeth Bartell, Kevin Young, Athiette, Celeste, Desi Quiche, Liam Hodgson, Mr. Atheist, and Jack.